In this episode of the Agent 251 podcast, I was fortunate enough to sit down and interview Mathew Bizzaro at this year's Tom Ferry Summit in Anaheim, California. Mathew is a self-proclaimed hyper-local sales expert in Uptown Manhattan and the Bronx. What this means to me is that he is engaging in lifestyle marketing. It means infusing yourself into the local community and becoming a true ambassador of your local market and knowing that area better than anyone else. He also talks about how he engages with local partners and businesses for sponsorships, charities, and events to not only improve his community, but to also grow his business. Ready? Ready to rock and roll? Is that action? All right. Okay.
That's right.
All right.
Absolutely. Go. Go.
Hello, everybody. It's Jason Will with
Go.
This is a real estate podcast, but we talk about leadership, personal growth, and becoming the best version of yourself. Leadership, check 1, 2, check 1, 2. Growth, best version of yourself.
Go.
So this is a real estate podcast.
How you doing, everybody? My name is Mathew Bizzaro. I'm the broker owner of a boutique firm called the Bizzaro Agency, focused in Uptown Manhattan. That's New York. We focus on 110th North and the Bronx. Basically, what I like to sometimes call the section that when you come visit us, you don't travel to in New York.
Does that mean it's more affordable?
It's absolutely more affordable. There's great residential properties, and we see a lot of focus of a lot of young buyers, a lot of first-time home buyers. This is the spot where you can afford to purchase in Manhattan. If you want your zip code New York, Uptown, Harlem, Washington Heights, Inwood, this is the spot.
What's my entry-level price on a 2-bedroom?
So you're looking at entry-level 1-bed. See, we also in New York have this.
The entry's 1 bed.
Entry's 1 bed, right? But we have this beautiful thing in New York called the co-op. Which is mind-blowing to most people that are not in the city itself. Basically just means it needs to be your primary residence, but you can get those at a little bit less premium than, say, a condo, which you can rent out frequently. You're looking 1-bed starters. Uptown, we're going to range between probably $350 and $550.
Okay, yeah, so that's much more affordable than we were.
Yep.
Places we were looking.
Yep. And then
everything had a 1 and a bunch of zeros.
Yeah, as you travel down more south towards 110th, 120th, South Harlem, you're looking 2-beds are going to run north of $1 million, probably 1.2 and up. But if you stick with a co-op a little more uptown, you can still get 2-beds around 6.
Okay.
So there's a super price discrepancy. Obviously, location. And do you want to be in the most settled place? Do you want to be in where it's developing now? But retrospect for Manhattan prices, it's 40 to 50% cheaper than the Upper West Side.
Interesting. All right, let's talk about your superpower. So you reached out to me and said you wanted to contribute in whatever way possible to Momentum University. So we appreciate that very much.
Big fan of Momentum. I think anybody watching needs to get on some of these trainings and I've been in the business for 16 years, and I still look at some of the things Jason's putting together, especially for the new agents. It's really gold. So you ought to really just lock on and watch it like 10 times because there's some real good nuggets that I've even been able to take back to my team. So It's good stuff, man. Kudos.
So you identified your superpower as being like a hyper-local expert.
Correct.
And there's a correlation between that and serving your customers at a high level.
Absolutely, 100%.
So since we're talking about a high-density residential area, and I'm assuming a lot of people you work with are they from the Manhattan area, the New York?
No, ironically, and we always joke about this, the majority of people that live in Manhattan aren't from. New York is just really cool. People come, people go. There's always moving, which is good for housing, right? Even in high demand, low demand, there's people still need to come in and out of New York because it's the financial epicenter. It's job central, right? So we see that a lot. But in the vertical living here, it's really interesting because New York is maybe 12 miles by 3 miles of an island with over 15 million people living in it. Right, so it's intensely dense. So there's a lot of essentially places to live in this small little island. So where I took a moment and I said stop. And when I opened up my firm 5 years ago, I said, really what's missing in this market is somebody that actually focuses on Manhattan and focuses on one piece very well, and that even being uptown. where it's always sort of overlooked because you hear downtown, you want to go see all the stuff downtown, you want to be downtown. There was a real underserved market, which I call north of 110th Street, that was sort of like the second thought. And it still very much is. A lot of times people come to us because they want to buy in New York, but can only afford Uptown. They don't have a choice. Like, I want to be in New York. Okay, you've got $400,000. You have a choice, right? You can't be downtown. It's not going to happen. And, you know, as a result, people go to some other boroughs sometimes, but many people want to be in New York. So that has made this wonderful community Uptown flourish. It's basically flourishing on people that are like, well, I'm going to live here. I'm going to bring my friends, and we're going to open up coffee shops, and we're going to have restaurants and bars and great things that go on. And I mean, the change over the last 10 years has been seismic, you know. But looking at that, where we're going is I saw the need for this community that wanted to be there. And I said, well, that's what we want to serve. I've lived in the neighborhood for 16 years. We've grown to 10 agents. 9 of my 10 agents live in the neighborhood, right? The one that doesn't did, you know, and has since moved with his family.
Right.
Really being able to provide service and value is the epicenter of our business. And being able to say, I live here, I work here, I play here, I raise my family here, and I actually know when you step out of this train where things are. I can tell you where to get coffee, grocery store, laundry, whatever you need, as opposed to what you see the aimless agents that get stuck with a client, have to travel uptown. They're pissed about doing a subway ride or an hour uptown, and they're sitting around on their phone on Google Maps trying to find out where they're going.
Right. So is there a trick to identifying yourself as a hyper-local agent in the market? I mean, I would imagine competition is really stiff even in the Uptown market, right?
Yep. Competition is fierce.
So how do you say I stand out as kind of your hyper-local expert?
Well, we really believe in the community up there, and we're really invested in the community, whether it's we sponsor, for example, the local chamber orchestra. And what we do is they do 9 to 12 shows a season in the neighborhood, and we sponsor them so they can do those shows for free for the community.
Oh, wow. So
no one has to pay. So anyone can come, like 2-year-olds or 106-year-olds, you know. And we really believe in, obviously, like the arts and stuff like that, but in a community that's going to thrive. So we're really invested in our community, so that's one. It's been a community I've lived in for almost 2 decades. To become a hyperlocal expert on another level, I think you can't just live there for 6 months and say, I know everything. I think you need to be steeped, you know, living somewhere for almost 2 decades, being really rooted in the community and helping it flourish, sponsoring art shows and exhibits and supporting local businesses, right? When we do all of our parties, all of our get-togethers, always with a small business uptown.
You're hosting it there.
Absolutely. You know, and then our partners, we try to partner with businesses uptown because it's really injecting into the community that's important. Because if you don't, you can say you're an expert, if you actually don't buy into it, if you don't buy into the mindset, you don't buy into the fact that it's really where I want to be and really where it's at, then I think you're not delivering on your promise.
But are you all sponsoring and participating in?
Absolutely. So we attend, we go to all the stuff that we can. We're very involved. Yeah, we don't just write checks. We're looking into doing things now like, you know, park cleanups and really getting back volunteer. We did, for example, last spring, we hosted a brunch for our clients and identified a charity that knew really needed help. There's a women's shelter that's uptown, and it's basically like run on volunteers. It's amazing. I mean, you have the most compassionate people that are servicing this place. It's open, you know, around the clock, but it's falling apart. Like the front gate doesn't have a lock. They have to use a padlock.
Wow.
Right? So, God forbid there's a fire emergency and your front gate to get in and out is padlocked, right? Things like that. So we identified this need, and what we did is we turned I made it a promise for our company that quarterly, at least twice a year, we're going to have an event in which we're going to identify local charities that we support and help them out. So we started this in the spring, and we donated $10,000 to the women's shelter so they could get their infrastructure, they could put on safe doors, because a shelter, you think, oh, it must be addicts or this or that, but a lot of times, a lot of people, they're just down on their luck, or they just had a bad run of it, and they just need a place, or they have families, little kids, and they just need, you know, same with like soup kitchens, right? Everyone that goes to soup kitchens isn't homeless. People have that very bad misconception. Sometimes it's the end of the month and just people's paycheck didn't make it. To really be able to serve that, but to look at these needs and try to make it better. It's about making the neighborhood better.
Right. All right. So at these events, do you wear like your name tag or anything that's a shirt that has your realty logo on it, or are you letting people know at the event when you're around there networking, like, hey, I'm one of the sponsors, or I'm so proud to sponsor this event?
Some yes, some no. I think just being in there and being steeped in it is recognizing us as who we are. We certainly don't wave around checks being like, I donated, look at me, right?
What I do, or what I'd like to do with this project, this Momentum University project, it's like break it down.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people come, we didn't even mention that we're at the Tom Ferry Summit 2018 in Anaheim, California. I think there's some people that are going to come, they're going to come to these breakout sessions, they're going to listen to the keynote speakers, and they're going to leave with a void because it wasn't broken down simply enough for them. So I think you've got an agent who says, well, all right, I'm hearing this, and I'm going to just start sponsoring things in my area.
Right.
So we need to let them know, like, you're sponsoring these shelters. Are you sponsoring a lot of different other things, or do you try to keep some commonality in what you sponsor?
That's a great question. I think definitely we diversify, right? So we do look at trying to service all different, education, arts, kids, adults, elderly.
This is an evolution.
It's an evolution, right? And we're,
you got a lot more money now than you had 5 years ago.
That is correct, and it's constantly it's ongoing, and we try to really stay at the pulse of what's going on as well. So you may think there's a need here, but when you talk to them or you go see it, they're fine. And over here, maybe that's not so public is something that's massively needing. Like when I saw this padlock on this gate, I was like, we can't. This is a problem, right? And we're blessed and gifted to be very fortunate in this business, and we just try to help out as every way we can. And when we see things that we can fix, we fix them. Right, and we try to make it better.
That's a really interesting point, though. Because this happens a lot. So if you're a brokerage owner or even a mega agent team owner, everybody's going to come to you and say, "Hey, can you sponsor my kid's soccer team?"
Right.
So more and more people are going to start raising their hands. But what I heard you say is like so simple but so brilliant. Is like, all right, so somebody calls and, "Hey, we have a need at a shelter." Well, great. Hey, before I always personally check out any needs in the community, just to make sure, for your benefit, I would say make sure you have a connection to that.
Sure.
So if it's not something you can get connected to, personally, emotionally, it may not be the best investment. But as you're saying, the need for your dollars may be much greater than other areas.
Absolutely. And I think you really need to weigh the impact, big or small, can have, right? Because $20 here goes only so far, but $20 here might go really far. So looking at that and assessing that, but it's also accountability too. Like when we do make a gift, we do follow up and make sure, hey, is this getting done? What's the progress? And we stay in touch. It's not one and done, so we try to continue to.
Such good advice. Yeah. So you're not just blindly writing a check. And then when you find these events or associations or fundraisers that you are connected to and you see that the work they're doing is very valuable in the community, you're participating. You're not just writing the check and going, hey, have a nice event. You're going and immersing yourself in that event.
Correct.
And networking while you're there. What about this? This is going to be a big thing for people.
Okay.
So
what do we got?
Do you toot that horn on the Facebook saying, hey, we're supporting this event? Or hey,
we toot it lightly. We'll send out a little press release, hey, we did this, picture of the event with description to keep all of our people, our followers, our clients in the know, and especially for our clients, because it's really, without our clients, without representing them as buyers or sellers, without our clients, we can't make these donations, right? So we're very conscious about making sure they know all the good things we're doing, because it's them choosing to buy a home with the Bizzarro Agency is also not only going to get them a wonderful home and start the next chapter in their life, it's also going to, leaps and bounds, go measures in social service and helping the neighborhood and helping make things better, right? So, yes, you choose with us. Yes, you get your home, which is mainly usually what people are about. Want to make sure that the person's representing me, knows what they're doing. But with us, you get a bonus. You get impact. We do that to put it out there so they know what we're doing, but we're not like It's not my style, never has been. Look at me. So we put it out there like once or twice, and then that's it.
I think there's a couple of cool things here. Number one, there's this ripple effect that I don't think a lot of agents are shining a light on. Like a ripple effect of doing transactions with me. Here's what it allows me to do in the community. So that was really awesome. I went to a training with one of the movement mortgage market leaders in the South Florida market. You know, he teaches one a fair amount, but here's the way he makes peace with it. He says that if I can inspire somebody, so if I am sponsoring an event for a local shelter, and I'm just going to let everybody know that, hey, I'm here with my company supporting this.
Right.
It's one of those necessary evils. He acknowledges that.
Yep.
That, you know, we have to do this. I mean, our industry and sales, I mean, there's so much power and influence on social media that you just can't not afford to say, hey, I'm doing this. But the way he makes peace with it is he says, like, if I inspire somebody else to go support a local business in the community, that's a win-win. So say what you want about me. Criticize me how you want. But this ripple effect,
absolutely,
this impact you're having, this is an honest depiction of what's happening.
Absolutely. If I can create the drive, the inspiration, even at where we held the event, it was a restaurant, and there was a dining hall that was still being operated by the restaurant. We kept having people sort of, you know, poking in, because as curious people are, especially New Yorkers, they want to know what's going on all the time. But to inspire anybody, even like, let's say the waitresses that were serving the events, maybe it's participate, but maybe it's also like awareness. I find awareness is really key with helping out the community. Is a lot of times, like, I had that event, for example, I had a ton of people coming to me that lived in the neighborhood and said, I didn't even know we had a shelter in our neighborhood. And I live 2 blocks, 5 blocks, 10 blocks. I walk by it every day, right? So I think creating an awareness is top priority. And then you see where the ripple effect goes. It could be them checking it out. Maybe they get called to inspire to volunteer. Like, one of our team members is a volunteer at this shelter.
Wow.
So he volunteers one night a week to do an overnight shift. Talk about gift of self. Doesn't sleep, and goes and works the evening shift.
Wow. That's great.
For no pay, for free, because it's a gift. But back to the awareness, I think is definitely key to just letting people know, hey, this is going on, or hey, this is a problem in the neighborhood, or hey, we're trying to do this, or, and I think that call to action in itself, and even changing people's hearts through awareness, because sometimes people just don't even know, I think that's when the most good comes of it.
And here's another thing that's going on out there, is there's this, and it's been going on, I think, for a little while, and some people have given it this name of conscious capitalism. It is using money, so money is good for the good it can do, basically. But there are people, that millennials, these younger generations, I think, what are millennials? Like 35+% of all transactions nationwide. It's pretty large.
Counting.
Yeah, so it's rising.
Yep.
They want to hire people who are just not about the sale,
Correct.
who are about the community. They also want to work for a company or work for a brokerage that is about the community, that is about, like, that says, hey, there's something bigger than just our company, bigger than ourselves.
Yes.
So we need to be serving. So from a recruiting standpoint and, attraction standpoint, it's key to let them know, because a lot of companies say they're involved in the community, but they may be just the check writers.
Yeah, and I think, and that's if you're donating a dollar to any cause, I always encourage people to really just look at, where's that dollar go? How much of it goes to that actual cause? How much goes to admin fees, right? Mm-hmm. Or any level of that. And if you're going to consider joining a real estate company and you want something that has more, then you need to look at who's the broker, who's the leader, what do they believe in, what is this? Is it very corporate? Is it very boutique? How is it structured? And ultimately, I tell everyone that wants to come work for us that we interview is saying you have to find out what's right for you, right, and what you desire. But yes, I think there's a lot of smoke screens because giving back and being good is trendy, let's call it.
Yes.
That everyone is doing it, but some people are really doing it, and some people are sort of just going through the motions to have it as a logo on their website. Well,
that's a really good segue into, and we're running short on time here, but that's it. good segue into the, maybe we call this the final piece, is that there is definitely, I mean, you hit the nail on the head, of an authenticity element to this, that if you, I mean, well, so typically, if you're not authentic, you're more likely you're going to be that check writer.
Correct.
You're not going to get in there and kind of press the flesh with people and shake hands and kiss babies and all that stuff. I think it would be fair warning to people that if your heart is not in the right place and you try to go this route to grow your business and to really establish your brand, then it can backfire you pretty big.
Yeah, it's essentially a house built on sand. And especially if you're recruiting or people are drawn to this and you're not delivering on it, it's basically just filling people with false promises. So we really want to, always be conscious of that. But yeah, that's a thing, research, right?
Yeah. Well, what about if somebody comes to work for you? Are you establishing this? It's like, hey, you want to come work for my team or with my brokerage? You need to be hyper-local, community-centric. You need to have a heart for serving people.
Correct.
Because it's the same thing, and I'm sure maybe it's happened to you. I know it's happened to me. Is that some people pull the wool over my eyes, and I perceive them to be this person that they're not.
Yep.
But I always warn people. I'm like, look, get one over on me. But the culture is such that if you are not who you say you are, it's going to chew you up and spit you out.
You're going to get flushed out in 30 days.
But the same thing's going to happen with that consumer base out there. Whether you're all about the sale, I mean, forget philanthropy and all that aside. I mean, if you're just not serving their needs, if you don't care enough to adopt their goal as your goal, it's the same thing.
Yep.
I mean, they're going to be able to smell it, sense it. So it just really starts from the bottom up. I mean, you got it right here, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got to have it internally, and then you've got to you have to deliver. My team is some of the best agents in the business, and they deliver for their clients every day, in and out, constantly. But we have to deliver to be able to also work on our mission of giving back. This is the more we deliver for our clients, the more deals we close, the more we can then give back. So it's definitely a double-edged sword. And as you know, clients, the agent sees them as a dollar sign, they smell that a mile away.
Yeah.
And you will have a 5-minute conversation or one showing and you will never see them again. It's starting there in authenticity, saying, I'm going to provide you the best value because you want to buy up here. And there is nobody that knows this neighborhood better. I've done deals in almost every building. I live here, right? There's no one I can tell you how to get everywhere, get anything, get you the beautiful coffee you don't know about. This place even serves coffee.
Well, this has been a great discussion. We need to get back to the conference.
Yes.
Because we paid money to be here to learn so we can bring massive value back to the people that count on us. I hope you will join us again and continue to contribute with this. We're building a massive online educational platform, and I know there's a lot of segments that you could lend your expertise to. So
I'd be happy to.
Thanks for this interview.
My pleasure.
And look forward to seeing more of Mathew Bizzaro of MomentumUniversity.com.
All right,
everybody.
Have a good one.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. I want to encourage you to go to MomentumUniversity.com and check out the real estate conference that we're going to be hosting in New Orleans, Louisiana, April 11th and 12th of 2019. This is a real estate conference started by agents for agents. We've got the most incredible lineup of speakers you've ever seen at a real estate educational event. It's going to be awesome. It's also going to be on the backs of the French Quarter Fest. So come make a weekend out of it. Let's collaborate, network, and take our business to the next level. Get your tickets today at MomentumUniversity.com.
This show has been paid for and powered by JWRE, Jason Gold Real Estate. You can find Jason, Diana, and the whole JWRE team on the internet and Facebook. Everybody, have a great and productive and happy week.